One mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different.
One mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
And welcome back from the weekend and into the One Mic with Big Mike show with me, your host, Big Mike, right here on Spreaker, as well as the Spreaker app. I'm also live right now on TuneIn. And, of course, my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. Make sure you guys go on over and check the website out. We got some new things coming to the website. We're going to have some blog posts and things of that nature coming to the website. So make sure you check it out, onemicwithbigmike.com. Spell the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE.com. The show can also be heard, if you don't get a chance to stick around for the entirety of it. It can be heard on demand on all four of those outlets I already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube, where you can catch the audio and the video being from my live stream that's going on right now on the Facebook page. It is www.facebook.com/ the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE. You guys make sure you use that same handle, One Mic with Big Mike, to follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well. And for those of you who would love to be a part of the show and have your thoughts heard and interact with me, you can do that in a couple of different ways. You can send me a text to 404-902-8104. That's 404-902-8104. You can also jump inside my live interactive chat room. To do so, all you have to do is be listening via Spreaker. And listen to me, I'm saying Spreaker, Spreaker, or the app, or, of course, my website, onemicwithbigmike.com, and you'll see a little thought bubble icon sitting right there on the streaming player. Just click on that. A couple steps later, boom, you're inside the live interactive chat room where you guys can holler at me. You can holler at the big homie, Big L, who's already checking in. What up, homie? You can holler at anybody. You can ask questions. I got a guest coming on at 7:30. He joins me each and every Monday. His name is Ben Troupe, former NFL, SEC tight end. He's a Georgia-Florida game Hall of Famer as well. We just chop it up about the weekend that was in college and pro football every week. We call it Troupe Talk. Also, if you're watching me, if you're a watcher on our Facebook Live here, you can leave comments below the live streaming video, and I'll make sure to give them a peek throughout the show so I can interact with you guys there as well. So plenty of ways to be involved in the show, plenty of ways to interact with me and the other listeners of the show. That's how we like to do it around here. So speaking of today's show, we got a lot of stuff to dig into today. First and foremost, like I mentioned at the bottom of the hour, my man Ben Troupe is going to join me. We're going to chop it up. I think Ben was in town this weekend, and he ain't even holler at me. So, yeah, we're going to have to beef about that for a second. The other thing we got, top of the next hour, my daily feature or my every show feature on this day where I take a look back into the history of sports and give you guys a couple little tidbits and historical feats that were accomplished on this particular day in history as it relates to sports. I got another feature that I do called What You Looking At. And today I want to talk about, I don't know how many of you guys watch Westworld. I watched every episode of it, and I don't think I got it. I think it was a good show, maybe. I don't know, but I don't really think I got it. So we'll chop it up about that, hopefully, before we get out of here today. I got some NBA news to get out off my chest. My man Russell Westbrook is in the city tonight. The Hawks have been bombing, and the one thing you don't want to see is number 0 for Oklahoma City when you've been getting crushed, and this dude been triple-doubling everybody. So we'll talk about that. Of course, everything that went on yesterday in the NFL, the Atlanta Falcons, a big story today, big national story today. This is what you guys wanted, right? You guys love when the national media talks about your team because nobody ever respects us. They don't ever talk about us. Well, here you go. You made history yesterday. Congratulations Falcons and Falcons fans in a loss, in an unprecedented loss yesterday. So we'll talk about that. Shout to Eric Berry coming back to the crib doing work. And at the top of the next hour is when I want to talk about rules. And it's been something that's been on my mind for a couple of weeks now. And the conversations with other people about that, I mean, it's come up in conversation with people over the last couple of weeks as well. And I was going to make it, I told Renee that I was going to make it a vlog post, a video log post. And I just hadn't had the time to do it. And then to just try to interject it into the show didn't really fit. But since, due to what happened last night with Cam Newton, it kind of, I found the hook. You know, the thing that I'm always looking for, I found the hook. So I'll be able to talk about that today at the top of next hour when I get through talking to Ben Troupe. Once again, it is the One Mic with Big Mike show. Appreciate you for joining me here on a Monday. I want to start off with, what I call shepherding. The shepherding and the puppet string pulling that goes on in sports, and ESPN does it with the best of them. They get you guys riled up over damn near anything because they say you should. This college football playoff situation. Look, man, it is what it is. Everybody who's searching, everybody who feels like they have the answer to this freaking imperfect system, you don't, and there is none. There is none. Like, even if you feel like, you may even feel like the NFL playoffs. That's how you do it. That's the perfect way to do it. No, it's not. Because who amongst you gonna tell me that in 2007 that the New York Giants were the best team in the NFL? No, they were the team that played. They were the team that played best last. Of course, the Patriots were the best team in the NFL that year. And we could play the game. If they played 10 times, they would win 9 out of 10. We could do all that kind of stuff. But just the eye test tells you that the New York Giants weren't a better team. But when you play a one and done situation, when your champion is crowned by a one and done, things like that happen. That's why you guys love March Madness and all that kind of stuff. The finality of it. That's why in basketball there is no debate. There's no debate. I mean, I guess you could debate last year in basketball because then you have the question of Draymond being suspended and all that. But in most situations, when both teams are at full strength, you play a 7-game series. The Cubs playing a 7-game series against the damn Indians that gets extended to extra innings. You find out who the best team was. Ain't too much on the argument to be made in those type of situations. But when you have football and it's a one and done, strange things happen. So you're not guaranteed to get, the champion, the best team out of those scenarios. Before I go there, let me make sure I get you guys the information first before I start my opinionating. Here's the top 10. At number 10, Colorado at 10-3, USC at 9-3. We got a Wisconsin squad who lost to Penn State in their Big Ten championship game. They're sitting there at 10-3 at number 8. Oklahoma, they won. Baker Mayfield and those boys beat Oklahoma State. They're sitting there at number 7 at 10-2. Michigan also sitting there at number 6 at 10-2. Check this out. Penn State over Michigan. Michigan lost to Ohio State. Penn State beat Ohio State, but Michigan also crushed Penn State. So who cares, right? So Michigan's at number 6. Penn State is at number 5. You got Washington, first team in into the playoffs, or I guess last team in, at number 4 at 12-1. They beat Colorado in the Pac-12 championship. Ohio State's in there at number 3. They dropped from last week. They were at number 2. They're now number 3 at 11-1. They beat, that's right, nobody. They beat nobody in no championship, but such is life, right? Sometimes the circumstance, sometimes reputation, man, will get you where you need to be in life. Like, as adults, we know that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about everybody get a trophy and everything being fair. And we'll touch more on that concept of fairness and being treated equal versus being treated fairly. We'll touch on that a little bit later in the show. Then you got Clemson, who beat the brakes off of Virginia Tech. No, that's not right. They were beating the brakes off, and I thought they were about to start beating the brakes off of them, and then I turned the channel. But then Virginia Tech apparently made a game of it, so I ain't gonna do them like that. They played a competitive game against a better more talented Clemson team. And, of course, Alabama. And that bloodbath that happened down here in downtown Atlanta. And everyone knew it was going to be. The thing I didn't know about that damn Florida squad, like 7 of their starting defensive players were hurt last year or this past season. That's a lot to come back from, especially when you got like, I don't know who playing quarterback. I can't even think of something to compare their quarterback situation to. Del Rio, then is it Appleby? Yeah, man. I'm so good on that. And again, I think my man Ben Troupe was down here witnessing that bloodbath that happened. So we'll talk about it with him during Troupe Talk at 7:30. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show. Once again, you're listening to me via Spreaker, probably the Spreaker app. Tune in or onemicwithbigmike.com, my website. Make sure you guys spread the word, man. Tell your friends about it. There's also, once you hit that little chat room button, or once you see it, you'll see another button. You'll see a little heart icon there. Click on that heart icon too. And I think once you do that, it'll activate the share buttons where you can share the show with your friends on Twitter and Facebook and so forth and so on. I do advise that you do that, man. Let your friends know that I'm here trying to do my thing or whatnot. Shout out to golly, there's a young lady. This weekend I went out and did my promo thing, hit some parking lots and peppered some parking lots with my flyers and whatnot. And one of the places I was at, this place here in Atlanta called Top Golf. It's like, this kind of driving range / club situation. And so I went out there. I saw a parking lot full of people in the midday. It wasn't even the midday. It was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And I just, hit them off, put the flyers up under the windshield wiper and everything. And then one of the chicks hit me up on Facebook. Was like, yeah, who the hell is this? And I was like, wait, it's me. She was like, okay, I just wanted to know because I'm going to listen to the show. So I don't remember names very well, but thank you, and I appreciate you for, taking the time out to consume something that's new to you and not be a sheep and like, oh, man, everybody's not talking about it, so I don't want to be a part of it either. Yeah, be an individual, man. Holla at your boy. But be an individual until I get my weight up. Then like join in with everybody else. then follow the pack. So anyway, the big brouhaha today, right? Oh, I can't believe this is happening. We need more teams in the playoffs in college football. No, the hell we don't. Because you know what's gonna happen? The same thing that happened when the BCS went away. And I called it like years ago when me and my man was doing the Sports Kings over at CBS. I was like, everybody's clamoring and hollering and screaming for playoffs, but it's still college football and there's still a ranking system involved. See, that's the thing about the NFL. There's only 32 teams, so a playoff works. Like, no one's sitting outside the playoffs like, man, damn, we should have been there. No one's doing that because you know what happens? Your record, plain and simple, your record dictates whether you make it to the playoffs 95% of the time. The other 5% is when you have a tie record with somebody. They got to use these tiebreakers and all this kind of stuff. But for the most part, I said at the beginning of every NFL season, you get 10, you probably in, because I'm black. It has to rhyme too. Yeah, that's part of my inner black man. So yeah, you get 10 wins, you're most likely in the NFL, and that's usually the top goal. You want to get into the playoffs. You want to win your division. You want to secure some sort of home field advantage, whether it be in the first round or home field throughout, and then move on from there. In college football, the same rules don't apply because there's too many damn teams. You got conferences with divisions within the conference. You got the Power Five. You got, who was that? Western Michigan sitting outside the Power Five who did well. You got a Houston team that was expected to do pretty well with Tom Herman. It's too many different variables involved for somebody to say this is how we gonna make it work. Even if you go to the FCS model, right, where they got a 2014 playoff. Even if you go to that, somebody's still gonna be left out. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me go back to this. Where the hell are they? To these damn rankings. All right, so you got your top 4, right? You got Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Washington, right? So then you would assume you go to 8, you let Penn State in because they won the Big Ten championship, right? But then, where do you go after that? You feel me? Because that Michigan squad is sitting out there, and Michigan beat Penn State, right? So, okay, let's say, all right, you let Michigan in. So now you got Michigan, Penn State in. That's 6 and 7. But now, that's 5 and 6. But now you got to figure out what you're going to do with 7 and 8. Wisconsin lost the championship game at number 8. Oklahoma kind of won their de facto championship game. So, okay, scoot them in there at number 7. So now you got USC, who a lot of people are saying, one of the hottest teams in college football, sitting there at number 9. Then you got Wisconsin, who lost their championship game, both with 3 losses. So now you got to do this thing where you go to like strength of schedule and all these kind of things, and who feels better about who. Also, Colorado sitting there. They lost in their championship game at 10-3, big Power 5 conference. So they're below USC at 10 in these rankings that I'm looking at. They played in the conference finals. They lost just like Wisconsin did at number 8. You get my point? Like, even if you go to 8 teams, there's going to be a conversation to be had about number 8. At least. Maybe even number 7. When you start, because like you can get away with, in the current model, you can probably get away with saying, okay, if you win one of the Power 5 conferences, guess what? You're in the playoffs. But now you get 3 at-large bids, right? You get 3 extra teams to go in. Who gets those? How do you're back to the same point that you started from. You got a committee trying to decipher strength of schedule, the eye test, and don't forget about who's going to sell some damn tickets and whose fan base is going to travel. See, this is what Penn State thought. By the way, side note here, you guys listen to the show. What up to you? I am No Dose. I am No Dose is in the chat room. You guys can join him in the chat room. A couple ways you can be a part of the show. You can text me at 404-902-8104. You can also jump inside my live interactive chat room by clicking on the little thought bubble icon you see on the streaming player. That's if you're listening via Spreaker or the Spreaker app on your mobile device, or on my website, onemicwithbigmike.com, or you guys can also check out the live stream here on Facebook, facebook.com/1MICWITHBIGMIKE, and leave your comments below the live streaming video here. What was I talking about? The teams, like trying to get teams in. There is no secret sauce to what's going on in college football. But, the people in Penn State, this is what I was about to say. Full disclosure here. You guys who listen to the show, you guys and girls who listen to the show know that I don't root necessarily actively for someone to win or lose or anything. But I tell you this, I definitely root for crappy stuff to happen to Penn State and Baylor. Oh yeah, like anytime like Penn State getting screwed in this situation, I'm all good with it. I don't care. Like if you don't care, if all you people up there want to defend your school and talk about how great it is up there and ignore the fact that the old man was raping boys in the locker rooms and stuff, yeah, you don't deserve nothing. Whatever. Be left out the playoffs, and next year be bad as hell. So it looks even worse, like it was a fluke this year. Hey, who cares? Same thing with Baylor. Like if that whole football program just implodes upon itself, I'm good with it. Yeah, I actively root for, and it's one of those conflicts that you go through because I like good football, and I think. This year, I think that Penn State squad played good football. That quarterback they got is pretty good. And I think he may be a good NFL quarterback. I don't know his like measurements and anything. We're about to start getting into our draft talk here in just a second too. Leonard Fournette just declared today. Surprise, surprise! Stop getting your body beat up for free, kid. My man Alex Kaptoff. He did our draft stuff last year, excuse me. So we'll get him back on. I'll reach out to him and we'll start, getting you guys familiar with some players that you may not be familiar with, because a lot of times college football can be very regional. You can, if in the South, all the SEC and the ACC players, and then you got the people out west, who know all their guys from the Pac-12. But my man Alex Kaptoff, he's like crazy good, and he got all the information that we're gonna need. So where was I? Talking about. Yeah, so as I wrap this conversation up, because it's not a long one, like I'm good with however they turned out. The only thing that's going to really be, kind of crazy, because Washington, they drew the short stick. They got to play Alabama in the first round. That Washington squad is a nice squad, man, and I know a lot of people, because they play in the Pac-12, a lot of people ain't pay a lot of attention to them. But it's a nice squad, and what end up happening is they'll show up where are they playing? They're playing here, right? They're playing at the Georgia Dome. They'll show up in the Georgia Dome to see Alabama and get smoked. And then you had the Wahoos over at Penn State over in Happy Valley saying, oh, you know what? See, we told you they shouldn't have been there, as though they would have done better. You know what I mean? It's like at the end of the day, like when you watch that Alabama squad play, I tweeted on Saturday, they could have just left the offense at the crib and just played, like let the dudes on offense do like we did back in the day. Somebody just choose or call all-time quarterback and play with defensive players on offense and let Jalen Hurts and them boys take the night off. Florida wasn't going to be able to do nothing, and maybe that would have made it even a little bit closer of a game. Don't forget, you guys, the new feature on the show, the new interaction with the show, hashtag put it on the poll. All day long, right? All show long, I'll be putting things on my Twitter at One Mic with Big Mike on Twitter. Poll questions based on whatever I may be talking about during the show or whatever. But it doesn't just stop with me. You guys can put it on the poll too. Hashtag put it on the poll. Brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. And basically all it is just what I said. It's a poll question. You guys can head on over to One Mic with Big Mike on Twitter. Chime in. You guys did pretty well the other day. You guys participated the other day. So the first one, let's do this one, Renee. How many teams is enough teams for the college football playoff? And we'll do 4, 6, 8 more will be the fourth option. How many teams are suitable? Is a suitable amount, or however you want to phrase it? How many teams is the right amount of teams? That sounds better. How many teams is the right amount of teams for the college football playoffs? Hashtag put it on the poll at One Mic with Big Mike. 4, 6, 8, or more are going to be your options for this. And throughout the show, we'll get the results and let you guys know, what's popping with that. And for the people who were talking about the conference championships don't mean anything, well, that's ridiculous. I mean, if you're playing for them, it means something. Because, like, look at it this way. Let's say something just out of control happens, right, in this football game here in the Georgia Dome on Saturday, Florida, Alabama. And Florida ends up winning the damn SEC championship. I know how unlikely it is, but humor me. Like, which one of you want to see Florida in the playoffs, in somebody's playoffs, with a chance to win a national championship? Yeah, I ain't raising my damn hand. Hell no. So, no, just winning, I understand that part of the concept because of what I said earlier. You start boiling things down to like a one-off, crazy things have happened. Again, March Madness is a perfect picture of that. Crazy things end up happening when you see like Butler beating teams, beating like these high-powered teams in Wisconsin and Kentucky and all this kind of stuff. Nah, I don't want that in my life. Give me the 4 best teams. Because at the end of the day, I don't really care anyway. I didn't go to none of these damn schools, and it's weird to me how people root so hard for schools that they didn't go to. Like, it's a big thing here in Georgia. I don't know where everybody's listening at. It's a big weirdo type thing in here in Georgia where I'm from. Like, dudes love the Georgia Bulldogs. Ain't now one of them even thought to apply to the school. Much less, like, cats is running around here with G tattoos on their bodies. How is that a damn thing? But, wherever you find your happiness at, feel me? Wherever you find your happiness, run it. So, I don't care. All I want to do, I want to see decent football. That's all I want to see. That's why, like, people are talking about if they expand the playoffs, could they get rid of the conference championship games? Okay, I'm cool with it. Like, look how many of them end up being blowouts and non-competitive games. If you taking that away, of course, there's money to be lost in those situations too, and ain't nobody giving back no cash. Not the SEC, not the Pac-12, not the Big Ten, not the ACC. Ain't nobody giving back no cash, nor are the host sites, whether it be Atlanta or Orlando or wherever the host site may be. Ain't nobody giving back no cash. Please believe that. So that's going to be a hard sell. The other thing about expanding the playoffs, as we kind of transition to that topic, like, I don't see how you can do. I know, the lower division, the 1AA division does it. But here's the thing. They're, I don't know, first round games and second round, semifinals, all those things. They're not linked to anything. Because these bowl people and everybody that sponsors these bowls, yeah, this is big money in this thing. And the problem with, I can hear you guys saying it. Well, all you gotta do is make the bowls a part of the playoffs. Wrong. Look what's got to happen. Look what's got to happen for the semifinals. Washington has to travel probably as far as you can possibly travel in college football, from Spokane, I guess that's where they at, right? Spokane, Washington, all the way to Atlanta to play a football game. So not only do they have to travel, their fans have to travel too. You know what I mean? And then turn around and do the same thing in the next week if they win. Yeah, come on, man. In 1AA, they play the top seed has home field advantage like the NFL. And here's the thing, like freaking Tostitos ain't trying to sponsor no game between the hedges in Athens. Nah, cause they want it in these huge Jerry's World, Georgia, Mercedes-Benz Dome buildings. Everybody got their hand out, man. Everybody's like raking in the dough, and now you asking folks to turn back the time to make college football make sense. It just won't make sense. I was cool with the BCS. If you're going to give me number 1 and number 2, which is like, I didn't even look this up. See, this is why I need an intern for an instance like this, because this thought just hit my mind. I'm wondering how many times since in the last 3 years, because this is not a hard research question, how many times in the last, this is what, the 3rd year, the 4th year of the playoffs, how many times we've had 1 versus 2 in the playoffs so far? So if it's gonna average out to be 1 versus 2 anyway, why not skip the middleman outside of the money? Speaking of the intern situation, if you know anybody, or if you do, if you like to learn a little bit more about broadcast media, sports, radio, anything of that nature, anything that you hear me being involved in here on the show, I got about 15 years of experience in this. So I'd be more than willing to trade some of it with you for some work, for some help, organizing my show and organizing my thoughts, and with my social media accounts and things of that nature. No travel. You don't have to come sitting here with me while I do the show and everything. I realize it's 2017, about to be 2017, so everything can be done, via the old interwebs and the cell phone. There will be times that, if, you need to know something as an intern and you need to link up with me so I can show you something, hand to hand, I don't have no problem with that. But if you got anybody who's in that situation, got a hankering or wants to know a little bit more about this broadcast situation or this broadcasting industry, tell them to send me an email to mike@onemicwithbigmike.com. That's MIKE at the numeral 1, MIC, WITHBIG, MIKE.com. And we'll try to hook that up for the 2017. 2017, you're trying to move the show into a different stratosphere, get some more momentum going as well. I don't know if I told you guys about this on Friday. This kid from Notre Dame, Malik Zaire, he's transferring. The quarterback, the one who started before Deshaun, what was the kid's name? Deshaun Kaiser. He's transferring, and I told Ben, I was kind of texting back and forth with him that, this dude is like thinking about Florida as one of his landing spots. That might be a nice look for that kid. And last thing before we welcome in Ben Troupe for Troupe Talk, that Houston job. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Lane Kiffin seems to be one of the top candidates for that Houston job that Tom Herman just left. That's a good look for him because of the fact that, you know what I mean? It's a stepping stone job, and like people need to be able to trust Lane again. For whatever reason, though, him being a jerk or being immature in his past when he first got into the head coaching, those head coaching gigs, people need to be able to trust him again, and people need to see him out from up under the wing of Nick Saban or so. So that might be a good look for Lane Kiffin. The other name that came up in that job was Les Miles. So we'll see how all that goes. All right, let's take a quick break here. Renee is saying in 2014, number 4 Ohio State took on number 2 Oregon. In 2015, number 2 Alabama took on number 1 Clemson. This is only the third year. So, yeah, 50-50 chance. We got a 50-50 chance of getting number 2 versus number 1. Go for it. Let's run it. Anyway, we're going to take a break, come back, do some Troupe Talk with the homie, former SEC and former NFL tight end, Ben Troupe, Georgia, Florida Hall of Famer. We're going to kick some things around with him and get his perspective in English on last week, or this past weekend in football. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm here, Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. Tune in, and, of course, OneMicWithBigMike.com. Be back in 90 seconds.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at OneMicWithBigMike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
We asked kids what it took to be a dad. This is what they had to say.
A father is always present. I mean, what real father figure can you have if they're not there?
In order to be a good dad, you need to love your son. You need to put gas in your car so you don't break down in the middle of nowhere. And you need to make them breakfast. Yep.
I mean, just to maybe play like a board game with me, or to just stay home and play some video games with me. Just to do like that one little thing is what I really look forward to.
I'm not asking him to be a perfect dad, but he should try.
He's just a constant force in my life.
There's no other type of love like a dad's love because it's not comparable to anything else.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
And now, back to One Mic.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
I have one question for you.
Taking shots in here. You want one?
Welcome back to a Monday. Monday. Hope everybody had a pleasant weekend. It's been raining all damn weekend here in the A, man. It's crazy. Anyway, it is the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm right here, man. Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. Also the Spreaker app. Don't forget, I'm also live on TuneIn. And, of course, my website, OneMicWithBigMike.com. Speaking of live, you can catch me. You can catch my ugly mug here on Facebook Live. www.facebook.com/1MICWITHBIGMIKE for all those watchers out there. Don't forget, you can get in touch with me. You can holler at me, 404-902-8104. You can also leave your comments below the streaming video here on Facebook, or jump inside my live interactive chat room if you're listening to me via Spreaker, the app, or OneMicWithBigMike.com. It's as simple as clicking on that little thought bubble icon you see there, and then boom, you'll be up in the building. It is that time of the week, Monday, when we come back from the weekend. We got to talk some football. We got to talk college football. We got to talk pro football. And who better to do it with than the big homie Ben Troupe?
It's time for Troupe Talk.
What you talking about?
We're talking NFL and college football with former NFL and SEC tight end Ben Troupe.
Ben Troupe at the 15, at the 10, hurdles a man, spins to the 5. Oh my! Still on his feet, still pounding to the goal line. He's gonna score! He's gonna score!
Troupe Talk.
We heading to the top if you come on.
One Mic with Big Mike.
Yeah, man. What's happening, Ben? I think I got a bone to pick with you, my man. Like,
man.
I saw. You know, I'm stalking you on social media at all times, and I saw you hanging out with what was it called, the esports dudes?
No. That was the SEC. You saw me, SEC. You saw me hanging out. You talking about on Instagram? You saw me?
Yeah.
No. That was something that the SEC did. SEC with SAC. They was doing something for the student athletes. It's something that they're doing, like, you know, which I think is pretty good. They actually bringing athletes to Atlanta, and they got to meet Chick-fil-A corporate, and they got to go to Turner Broadcast, and they got to meet different, Spalding, a big marketing firm. So it was just me. They asked me to come down, being a former SEC athlete. Man, no. I don't I don't mess around with people that that I ain't think is beneficial. But I think it was great. Man.
I'm just talking about you not hollering at your boy while you was down here. You talking about all that?
Listen, and you know what, Mike? Man, it was crazy, man. It was so. You know what? It's one of those things where because it was brand new, I would be like, yo, Mike, I'm gonna come holler at you. I don't even know how the schedule gonna be because I ain't never done it before. And when I tell you, man, I felt like the freaking mayor, man. From the time you got up to the time you went to sleep, you had to be somewhere. So it was kind of crazy, beneficial, but I enjoyed it. But listen, we gonna have plenty of time to get up, plenty of time.
My man. All right, look, man, championship week is over. You know what I mean? The BCS final rankings is out. I just gave the people 1 through 10 or 10 through 1. Washington, Ohio State made it in. Michigan, Penn State made it out. I think that's what you said last week. I think your thing was last week that you said you definitely wanted to make sure Washington got in. But we got to talk about the situation where Penn State didn't. How do you feel about Penn State not being in there and the team that they beat actually being in there in Ohio State?
I just knew from the start that Penn State would be left out for the simple fact that you got to think too. At the last 4 teams had to be 4 teams that the world wants to see, and I know they tried to make it that these championship games actually helped as far as like the the Final Four, but. In my opinion, man, Penn State, man, is a travesty. They went out there and they earned it. True indeed, they had more than one loss, but they beat the team that happened to be one of the top 4 teams. And it's one of those things where, Mike, it's a catch-22. You either want the championship games to matter, or you don't want the championship games to matter. And the thing about this college, the college football committee, for them to leave Penn State out, it's going to start that same discussion of why they want to go from 4 teams to 8 teams. Because you're leaving out a team that earned it.
Should they? What do you think? Should they go from 4 to 8? Because I don't think they should.
No, I don't think they should go to 8. I definitely think they should not go to 8 because I think 4 is more than enough. So I don't think they should go to 8 because it doesn't make it prestigious. Then when you got 8 teams, it's like a lot of teams are going to slip through the cracks. When it's 4, it makes it so much harder to get in there. As you can see, Penn State, while they didn't benefit this year, they see just how hard it is. I think Ohio State is getting in off of reputation.
Of course, yeah.
And I think Penn State is just a year away.
And the thing about it is, like, I think Alabama's figured it out. Just win all of them. You get in, you definitely get in if you win all of them. Or if you're going to lose late and lose to somebody good. That's what it is. You can't, like Penn State, the thing that's hanging around their head, that albatross around their neck, yeah, that big-time loss to Michigan, that blowout loss to Michigan is hanging around their neck like an albatross. So there's that. The thing, like, we're talking about, well, you just mentioned your feelings on expanding. My perspective on it is this. When you had the BCS, it was 1 versus 2. Everybody was like, no, that's not enough. We need more. You got 4 now. Now, of course, ESPN is driving that bus that says we need 6 or we need 8. My perspective is, Ben, once you get to 6 or get to 8, guess who else is going to be complaining? Number 9. Here's what the standings are, Ben. And this is what I just went through in the first segment. You know who the top 4 are. Then you got Penn State sitting at number 5. Then you got Michigan sitting at number 6. A Michigan team that beat a Penn State team badly. So they're below them. Then you got an Oklahoma team, right? Then you got a Wisconsin team that just lost in the Big Ten championship. And then you got a USC team that's sitting there that everybody seems to love. And I think they're going to be back and better than ever next year. Yeah. Those sanctions over and all that kind of stuff. But then you got a Colorado team that's in the same position that Wisconsin's in, right? They lost their championship game. So that's 10 teams I just mentioned there, Ben. Everybody's going to have a complaint. You can go to 8 teams if you want to, but guess what? Number 9 is going to have a complaint, and number 10 may even have one too. Some may have automatic qualifiers, like the five champions, but then you still got 3 teams. You got like another probably 5 teams that's going to be battling for 3 slots. How do you fix it?
Yeah, and you know what? Another good job, Mike. You said something that really just made it all come together. The fact that what Penn State did, what hurt them was, like you said, they lost to Michigan, and then Michigan lost to Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Ohio State lost to Penn State, right. But Ohio State only has 1 loss, whereas those other 2 teams, 5 and 6, got 2. So the thing is, it's like they actually held them. Yeah, Penn State is going to get a consolation prize known as a bowl game, but it's one of those things to where everybody in that top 4. You can't, you're not really going to question it. And that's the thing about the top 4 teams. You're going to have people that's going to question certain things they do, but are they legitimately the top 4 teams? You can say yes. The top 4 teams are legitimate top 4 teams. And then when you start getting 5 and 6 and 7, 8, like you were saying, the BCS got rid of because we didn't understand what in the world went into how they did this, this picking with these computers.
Mm-hmm.
So you take it out of the hands of computers, you put it back into the hands of people. But the thing about people is you still got bias.
It's worse.
You're still going to have people who are going to have bias. And that's the thing. It's just like officiating. What classifies, a dirty hit and targeting, and what classifies, okay, it just, we pick that flag up. So I can live with the way it is now, because at least you're giving more teams an opportunity to get in.
Right.
With that BCS, a lot of teams, they have a shot. I mean, that was back in the Boise State going undefeated type days, and they still wasn't going to make it in. So I can live with how it is now. It's not a perfect system, but it is better than what we had.
Right, and there never will be one. I'm talking right now with my man Ben Troupe. It's Troupe Talk. We do it every Monday right here at 7:30, or if you're listening via the podcast at the 30-minute mark every Monday. He is a Florida Gator, he's still a Florida Gator. He's a former NFL tight end. Right, he's a Florida Georgia Game Hall of Famer, and last week we found out he's the best retweeter in the world. So there's that. Make sure you guys are following him for some of those retweets at BENTROUPE 84. This dude named Frank Drebin here on Facebook just said, in a perfect world, he'd say 16, 12 conference champs, 4 at large, Sun Belt. This is ridiculous. See, this is the ridiculous that I'm talking about. Everybody's striving for this perfect euphoria.
You know what it is too. Just look at it like this, and you can remember this, Mike. You remember when getting into a bowl game was prestige,
right?
I mean, because it's hard to do. You see how many? It's 41 bowl games now.
Because all you got to do is win 5 games or something, right? 5 or 6 games.
And the thing is, I remember when it was about 15, 20 of them, because it was hard. Now teams are getting in. Some of them getting in with 5 wins because of the strength of schedule.
Ridiculous.
It's just different things, and I just think that every team that made it to a bowl game, that's an accomplishment. But only one team gonna win it all. So outside of everybody, it's only gonna be one team. And the thing is, while it is to be celebrated what you've done, but 41 bowl games, I can't even pronounce some of these bowl games, man. I mean, some of these bowl games are crazy. Just to even pronounce the bowl. I mean, I remember back in the day when I was in college, I said, man, pretty soon, man, we're gonna have just a cereal bowl.
Yeah.
The soup bowl. And you know what? Somebody was like, you know what? That's a good name for a bowl game. And it's like, the best bowl game, I think, in my opinion, is the Bahamas Bowl. Because you get to go to the Bahamas.
Please believe.
How do you lose with that? So, and the Hawaii Bowl, obviously. Everybody else got to be in the state.
And here's the thing. For the people, here's what's going to be the travesty, man. Washington, good football team. I've watched I watched like 4 or 5 Washington games, including the Pac-12 championship this past weekend. It's a good football team. But what's going to happen is, for the people who feel like Penn State should have been there, they're going to show up in Atlanta, Ben, and get drugged by Alabama. And everybody's going to be like, see, look at that. Look what's happening there, because you ain't watched this team play. That quarterback is nice. That tailback they got, number 8, he's real nice. They got some good wide receivers. The defense is very unheralded. But, it's Alabama, man. And I don't think I've seen an Alabama team like this.
It's going to seem like a home game. I mean, it's going to seem like a home game.
Yeah,
Alabama. It really, really is.
Let's get some coaching questions out the way before we wrap up the college football situation here. Lane Kiffin, have we talked about Lane and all this coaching stuff we've been doing? Have we been talking?
No,
because I don't understand the kind of the doo-doo that seems to be on him. Like, okay, he was young. Wasn't Lane like 32 years old when he got his first head coaching job? Or something like that.
Yeah, with the Raiders.
Right.
The Raiders. No. With USC, I think. I think it was USC.
No, USC was last.
With Tennessee.
No, it was Raiders. Raiders, Tennessee. No, it was Raiders, Tennessee, then USC. That's what. That's the order. So
I was actually with the Raiders when he was the head coach. So I was out there for all that crazy.
That's
another show, but I was out there.
I look at him and say, okay, that was a pretty long time ago. And he wasn't, he didn't commit any felonies or anything like that. He just wasn't necessarily ready for the gig. But Lane, to me, is a damn good coach. But for whatever reason, people's like, all right, we got to stay away from Lane. Why? He seems to be headed to Houston, if not Houston, to kind of jump ship to LSU with Coach O. But I want to get your opinion. And now that I know that you played out there with him, why is it taking people so long to embrace who Lane Kiffin is?
You know what, man? I think he's because his daddy, being
Money.
Being the defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay. He kind of invented the Tampa 2 defense.
Right.
That is so legendary. And I think what hurt Lane Kiffin the most was when he went to Tennessee. See, when you go to USC, nobody's going to really care too much because football has a season out there. Just like when you go to the Oakland Raiders, people can forgive that. People are not going to forgive what happened in Tennessee because he says things like, dang, man, I thought football never stops down here. No, it doesn't.
Right.
Like, you came to a place that you didn't understand the culture of where you was at. And people hold that against him. And then, people kind of look at him going to Alabama as, kind of like, well, you under the safe haven of Nick Saban. Nick Saban's going to cradle you and going to say, okay, nobody's going to really mess with him. But I do see him going to LSU. I'm going to tell you why. Because while it's great coaching under Nick Saban, it's also very, 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 very stressful. Because everything has to be Nick Saban's way. Whereas I think he's going to go to LSU to show the world I'm a good offensive coordinator. I don't have to be at Alabama to show that I'm a good offensive coordinator. So I think if anything going to boost his resume, it's going to go to LSU because, obviously they're going to pay Alabama because Houston is a good job, but I don't think that's the job for him.
Really? See, I was on the other side of that. I was like, it's a great stepping stone.
The offense is good, but, I just think the SEC does something to people, though, Mike. It's like taking a step back. Yeah, you're making more money. Yeah, you're the head man.
But he's Lane Kiffin, though. He has to do that. He has to go backwards to go forward. Like, he has to go to a place like Houston where it's understood that I'm not going to be here for 10 years. You know what I mean? I'm going to be here for a minute. To let everybody know that I can be a head coach now. I'm ready to do this. And then next year, somebody get fired at old creepy face, frowny face up there at South Carolina. He'll get fired because they'll realize he can't coach for real. And then, Lane will find his way back to the SEC or somewhere else in the Pac-12 or somewhere, some Big Five conference. But I think for Lane, maybe it is a matter of taking a step back because of, like we mentioned earlier, because of reputation. He's Ben Troupe at Ben Troupe 84 on Twitter and Instagram. He's a former SEC and NFL tight end. He joins me every Monday here for Troupe Talk. We got to talk about some NFL stuff now. Before we get into like the games and stuff that happened this weekend, in the time since we last talked, man, there was a tragic shooting down in New Orleans. Kid Joe McKnight got shot, and I always want to give you an opportunity to voice your opinion on some of these social issues when they do come up. So the floor is yours, my man.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. When I was on Instagram, I just saw rest in peace Joe McKnight, and I kept saying Joe McKnight, rest in peace. Obviously I don't know the just cover. And then when I saw what happened and why it happened, what bothers me the most is how the situation. The situation. Obviously, I don't know every single detail.
Right.
But I do know that a man killed another man for stupidity, and the thing is, the man that killed him. And from the reports I've read, walked away.
Shot went home.
Like he didn't go to jail. I do not understand that. Like, for the life of me, I do not understand that. And the thing is, we live in a reality, as black and brown people that everybody else doesn't live in. They don't understand it. It's like, to them, oh, well, what did he do? He didn't do nothing to get his life took.
Right.
And his life is gone, and the man that took his life got respected by the police. And he's at home, probably listening to people talk about what happened. I just think it's a travesty, man. And until people start realizing, man, that, it feels like, man, people, I believe Joe McKnight, life is gone because of the narrative and the stereotypical nonsense that's being pushed about black and brown people that, listen, man, some people look at people as a threat. And you can see this stuff. Road rage is road rage. You've had it, Mike. I've had it. But it doesn't supposed to end with somebody losing their life, man. Right. And the thing is, the fact that this man lost his life over nonsense, because that's what it was. And this man get to walk away free, that I would never, ever be able to stomach that. I would never, ever be able to forgive that type of stuff. It goes back to, I don't know if you saw it, but Big Crit, when he did his what he did at the BET Awards, man, he said, I can't forgive it. And I'm a very forgiving individual. I'm not talking about the individual. I'm talking about this narrative that it's okay. Right. It is not okay. Right. This man is gone. And for what? For nothing.
Right. No way to segue away from that, man. But other thing that happened since the last time we talked, and it seems like we got news on my man every week. Your man, Jeff Fisher.
Oh, my God. When I saw it, I thought of you. When I first saw it. But this is the funny thing, though. Listen, what they say, Jeff Fisher's agent is like the son-in-law.
He's the brother. He's the brother of the COO of the company. Yeah.
But then, when somebody said that's a slap in the face to Eric Dickerson, it is.
Yeah. That's a big middle finger. That's a big middle finger to Eric Dickerson.
It's a slap in the face to every head coach out there that wins games.
Dude, this is what I said. No one can get fired this offseason. If that dude got an extension, no one can get fired.
Oh my God, the mere fact that Jeff Fisher's been the set the record for the most losses, and he get a contract extension.
That's awesome.
And he got the nerve to open up his mouth at these coaches meetings, saying, "Listen, man, what I think need to happen." Somebody say, "Whoa, what I think need to happen is you need to lower your tone." Because just because you get an extension, listen, and this is what I mean. I don't get this either. People like Jeff Fisher, Will Muschamp.
Yeah.
These people are not winning. They are not succeeding, and they still benefiting. What in the world?
You get it, dog. You know what it is.
I just don't understand.
They got the complexion for the protection, dude.
Obviously, I know it is. You know it is, Mike, but you know.
The complexion for the protection.
We try to keep it PC.
Not here. You don't have to on this show. No, my brother.
Well, listen. It's a race thing and a place thing. Whether whatever color you are, you might be in you coming up short. You coming up in second place. So let me tell you something, and I can say this. Will Muschamp is not a good coach, but I bet you Coach Strong is a better coach than Will Muschamp. I bet you.
Yeah, and
if South Carolina had the shot, if it came down to Will Muschamp and Coach Strong, if it came down to Will Muschamp and Big Mike, they should go with Big Mike over Will Muschamp. I'm just saying, man, it's bad, man. Listen, breaking news: Will Muschamp is the head football coach. Breaking news: Jeff Fisher gets a 2-year contract extension. If I'm a coach on the rise, I'm going to say, man, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
I should be, because that's crazy.
And here's the thing. The reports kind of came out. Mike Florio said that he's hearing that the 2-year extension was actually signed before the season, but they was looking for the right time to release the details. But guess what? They wasn't no right time. They just kept losing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we got to just put this out.
Right.
Ain't nothing, we going to wait on after LeCarron Blunt say that ain't nobody on the defense trying to tackle one-on-one. They bailing. Well, let's talk about a 2-year extension.
And apparently, the team can get out of it after a year. So he still may get fired during the offseason, but it's just like the optics of it is just kind of weird. Let's talk about another coach, because I'm gonna talk about this next segment in kind of some more detail. But Ron Rivera last night benching Cam Newton for the first game. I'm sitting there, I got my computer in front of me and I got the game on, and I just happened to look up at the exact moment the snap is happening. I was like, wait, what happened? I saw Cam dancing during the pregame while he was warming up. Why is Derek Anderson on my TV? I'm about to be extra pissed now because I'm not trying to watch this dude play football tonight.
I pay good money for my cable.
Right. I'm not trying to watch Derek Anderson play football tonight. And then you find out that my man ain't have on no tie. so he got benched for not having on no tie on the team playing or whatnot.
That's what they meant when I went to NFL.com and they were saying that he got benched because of a uniform
violation,
or something.
Uniform violation.
Hold on.
Or dress code violation.
So they dress code violation. So wait a minute. The fashionista,
right?
The supposed to be the Mr. Wear a suit the preseason game.
And homie was clean too, though.
Go to the stove.
Yeah, my man was clean.
Rivera. See, let me tell you something. People start getting pissed. These are the type of things that happen when you lose it. See, when you losing, I'm gonna put you on the bench because you ain't gonna win no tie. I bet you better not get on this plane without no tie.
Right.
Watch me. And then you're gonna bench me because I didn't have on a tie. See, stuff like that is why we grown men. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. And then this kind of stuff, the media got to talk about this now. Cam got to answer questions about not having on a tie. The boy had on a pink suit, man. Come on, man. I don't know, man.
With a feather in the hat.
I just don't get. These are the type of things that should never make it to professional sports or sports in general.
Yeah,
that's
man.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a whole segment on it in the next segment here. This is One Mic with Big Mike. Wrapping up here with the homie Ben Troupe. We do it every Monday. It's called Troupe Talk right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at BENTROUPE84. I want to ask you something about the Atlanta Falcons. And it's pertaining to what happened yesterday. Not the fact that they lost or whatever. That was a strange Atlanta Falcon type way to lose a ball game. Mm-hmm. But we've seen 2 years in a row this team kind of fade a little bit. Not a little bit last year. They faded like a mug last year, but still fading a little bit this year, coming down the stretch of seasons. And I can only relate it to, and I talked to the beat writer, D. Orlando Ledbetter, about this, the predictability of the offense as the season goes on. Like, once you get to week 12 and 13, nothing that you do is really a surprise to anybody. You heard Eric Berry say the reason he picked that 2-point conversion off, I saw it. I had already seen it in my film study, so I knew what was going to happen. So I could just, if you watch the replay of it, my man didn't take a step. Man, he flat-footed that thing the whole way. Meanwhile, there's a route going on behind him. So he is either like boom or bust, and he boomed, hit it out the ballpark. So I want to ask you, a guy who played offense in the league, how hard is that to be the same offense in week 12 that you were in week 2 or 3 of a season when you have a good offense?
Yeah, I mean, they always say, man, the last quarter of the season is who can perform their fundamentals the best. Because that's all. At the end of the year, it's all fundamentals.
Because everybody knows what everybody's doing.
Exactly. Eric Berry said, I'm playing percentages. I'm playing. The thing about 2-point conversions is you're not gonna do it that much, and you only got so many plays that you run,
right? And
you got to play percentages. Well, with him, he said, listen, if you throw the ball behind me, I can live with that because I haven't seen you throw the ball behind me on tape. I've seen you throw the ball, where I picked it off at. And the thing about Atlanta Falcons is, what makes them predictable is how their offense has been for a long. So their offense is predictable from game one. It just seems they just do little stuff to make it seem as though it doesn't. They're going to rely on Matt Ryan. Yeah, they got two beasts in the running back position, but they're going to rely on Matt Ryan to win games. You're supposed to rely on your running game to seal games, and it doesn't happen that way. They do things in the opposite way. Because we got this $100 million quarterback, who can do things, in the air, that's not going to help. And this is the thing about the Atlanta Falcons defense. They haven't gotten better through the year. They've just benefited from a great offense,
right? And they can't pick them up when they need them to.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about good teams are going to make your defense stop them. And see, the thing about Atlanta, they ain't built to stop nobody. Right. They built to maintain, a lead built by the offense. And the thing about Atlanta that's disheartening is, if you've been watching Atlanta, you don't even got to be a fan. You can turn on 2015, 14, 13, 12. You can be like, dang, they seem the same even through those years, because the thing is, people go, oh, when they had Tony Gonzalez, you rely on Tony Gonzalez when they had no defense. Oh, well, now they got Julio Jones, no defense. Oh, well, they got Devontae Freeman, no. And the thing about it is good teams find a way to do their fundamentals the best. Rob Gronkowski goes out for the year. Guess what? They still win in New England because they fundamentals are the best. You look at the good. You look at the Dallas Cowboys. They're winning, and outside of Orlando Scandrick, you couldn't tell me who on their defense.
Right. Especially that D-line.
But they winning, and exactly. And the thing is, because they realize, look, everybody know we're going to throw the ball to Beasley in the slot, to Whitney in the slot, and we're going to throw it. You're going to throw it out wide to Dez. We're not going to turn the ball over. We're going to run. We're going to run the football, and our defense is going to rally well as a defensive unit. That's what Atlanta want to do, but for some reason, man, it comes back to Matt Ryan every single time. So it's not surprising. They're a good team, but Atlanta will never be a great team. To me, their greatest team lost in the Super Bowl. Yeah. That was the greatest team I've seen Atlanta have. And you see what happens when you go up against a great, because the NFC doesn't really compare to the AFC, when it comes to like talent, top to bottom, most of the time. But they got a good team, though. I just think that they for Eric Berry to say that way, he say like, man, I've seen it.
Yeah.
He said, well, when y'all think I made a good play, I listen. I'm like, man, Matt Ryan to me is just like a Peyton Manning. He's gonna do what is expected, and you can't win games if you do it. You got to go against the norm. Very robotic, and the thing about it is, he's a good quarterback. But when you make him, Eric Berry say, to beat me, throw the ball behind him.
Right.
But he didn't throw the ball behind him, and you see what happened.
And see,
this man did a Deion Sanders impression. You know what I'm saying? At home in his hometown.
Yeah, that was sweet.
I loved it, man.
Yeah.
I'm an Eric Berry fan, man. To see, even though he went to Tennessee, man, the boys, I can't help but root for him to have, cancer to come back from it. Hey, man, salute to that man.
Absolutely. And the one thing I always talk about with Matt Ryan is that, especially this year, you know what I mean, as well as he's been playing, No one's perfect, and he's required to play a perfect game every single day, every single game out. And the games that he doesn't, the defense isn't there to pick him up. Ben, I got to take a break, my man. We got to not pay bills, but yeah, we just got to take a break. So I'm going to let you go. We're going to do it again next week. Next week, I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about Army, Navy.
Listen, you know what? Listen, we'll definitely come up with something in the world of sports or just in the world in general.
Period, right?
We'll definitely come up with something.
My man. Next week it is, my man. Take care, man.
Appreciate it.
That's been Troupe. He joins me every Monday for this thing we do called Troupe Talk. As you see, just two dudes chopping it up, exchanging ideas about the weekend that was in football. You guys can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at BENTROUPE 84. When I get back, I want to talk about rules. We're going to do on this day. We're going to take a look back into the annals of sports, give you guys some historical tidbits, but I want to talk about rules. We kind of briefly mentioned over the last, here and there about Cam Newton and what he got sat down for yesterday. And it kind of just harkened back to some other conversations that I've had over the last couple of weeks and some thoughts that have been kind of festering in my mind that I now get a chance to let you guys in on. So, yeah, buyer beware on this one. Anyway, it is the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker. I'm on the Spreaker app as well. Shout out to everybody who's contributing on Facebook as well. I'll get back and I'll read some of those comments off here in just a second as well. I'm also on TuneIn and, of course, the OneMicWithBigMike.com website. The show can also be heard on demand on all four of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube, where you can catch the audio and the video from the Facebook live stream. I'm streaming right now, facebook.com/1MIC, WITHBIGMIKE.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic. Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem even I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. Over 17 million kids in America may not know where their next meal is coming from. That's 1 in 5 children. Yet billions of pounds of surplus food produced right here in America just get thrown out every year. That's more than enough to feed every last hungry child. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by going to feedingamerica.org. Together we can knock out hunger. Together we're Feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go!
Buzzing on a beat. Hey, that was supposed to be the second half open, but me not paying attention and doing other things. Y'all know how it goes. Anyway, welcome back to the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com. Also heard live on the Spreaker app for all your mobile devices and on TuneIn if you got that downloaded, as well as on my website, OneMicWithBigMike.com. Don't forget, you can be involved in the show. Let your comments and questions and all those criticisms you might have be heard at 404-902-8104. Also, you can jump inside my live interactive chat room. You have to be listening via Spreaker or the app, or of course my website, OneMicWithBigMike.com as well. And all you got to do is click that little thought bubble icon you see there, and boom, you'll be in the building. Shout out to my man, I Am No Doze. Renee Cooper's up in here. Big L's in the building. You can also leave comments below my live streaming video on Facebook, which is at facebook.com/1MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. Let's see what else I need to make sure you guys know about. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Once again, it's at One Mic with Big Mike. Hey, look at that. We got good news here from a friend of my former show, the Sports Kings, guy who I enjoy having conversation with about basketball. The homie Mateen Cleaves. Breaking news here. I don't have a breaking news sounder, do I? Let me see here. Do I have a breaking news sounder? No, I don't have it loaded up. But anyway, apparently, my homie Mateen Cleaves, he caught a bum rap. Got caught up in, I guess, in the hotel room or at some resort with some broad. And she said he sexually assaulted her or raped her or whatnot. They been going through the pre-trial situation, from what I understand. But this is per the desk of Renee Cooper, vis-a-vis Mateen Cleaves' Mateen Cleaves' Facebook page. All charges against Mateen Cleaves have been dismissed. Mateen Cleaves said, "I'm grateful to my wife, my friends, and my family, my lawyers, Frank Manley and Daniel McCluskey, and my community for their unwavering support. I am thankful that justice was served." My man, salute to you, homie. Big up to you, home. Hopefully now, get my man Mateen on the show. We could chop it up about some college and pro basketball. You feel me? But anyway, before we move on with the conversation, I want to get into this conversation about rules. Sounds pretty ambiguous, right? But I'll try to make it make sense. But before we do that, we got to go back in time.
Now, let's take a look back.
On this day.
I don't know what that means. All right. On this day in 1908, at the University of Pittsburgh, numerals were first used on football uniforms worn by college football players. So 1908, on this day, was the first day somebody had a number on the back of their jersey. And then the NCAA said, you know what we can do? Sell these and not give the players any of the money. That probably came a little bit after that day, but eventually you all know it came. And by the way, that's also what she said. On this day in 1920, a pro football game between Akron and Buffalo ended in a 0-0 tie. The title was undecided. So instead of, this is old school stuff. So instead of everybody wins the title, no one gets it. Go home. Exactly. That's how it should be. If that happened today, everybody would get a trophy, right? You get like a half championship trophy. Get your ass out of here. Win the game. On this day in 1941, the Football Writers Association of America is organized. That's organized in English. That's important because I know the president is a friend of the show. Man who's never told me or my co-hosts no on any show. Even the shows I produced, he's never told us no. My man D. Orlando Ledbetter of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Shout out to you, homie. On this day in 1943, the NFL, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Pittsburgh Steelers merger dissolves. Who knew that? That it was going to be one team. They were going to just like meld into one Pittsburgh team. I don't know what the name would have been, but because that situation didn't occur, we now have, the Pittsburgh Steelers and all their championships and the Philadelphia Eagles and their no championships. On this day in 1974, the NFL Seattle Seahawks were formed. I put that in there just as a little to my Atlanta Falcons fans here. The Falcons were 5 years older. Seahawks have gone to 2 championships and won 1. The Falcons have gone to 1 and won none. So... and the only person who really cares about that, I don't know the only person, but Rob loves to talk about that. Like, he loves to talk about how the Heat have won 3 championships. They was only born in the 90s. Hawks been around forever in a couple cities, and ain't even got to sniff a championship yet. Shout out to the Hawks, man. Is the game on right now? Russell Westbrook playing the Hawks now here in the A. On this day in 1982, Mel Gray ends the NFL streak of 121 consecutive game receptions. I'm not sure if that record still stands because I didn't check. On this day in 1983, the video arcade game, somebody grab a kid close to you. Somebody grab somebody close to you and explain to them what an arcade is. Someone under the age of probably 20. Make sure they know what an arcade is. The video arcade game, NFL football, was unveiled in Chicago. It was the first video arcade game to be licensed by the National Football League. And then many, many more games came after that, kind of crescendoing in the Madden series. On this day in 1995, Dirty Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins passed for 300 yards in the game for the 52nd time to set an NFL record. I think that record's been broken by Drew Brees, who, by the way, his streak of touchdown passes at the Dome ended last week, or this past Sunday, yesterday, whatever. And finally, Karl Malone, or as Renee Cooper likes to describe him, punk ass Karl Malone of the Utah Jazz moved past Wilt Chamberlain into second place on the NBA's all-time scoring list. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your Monday edition of On This Day right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show, heard live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on Spreaker.com as well as the Spreaker app. Also find me on TuneIn and, of course, OneMicWithBigMike.com. We got 2 polls up right now. I don't even remember what they were, but Renee, do we have an update on the poll question? Some people actually responded on the old Facebook here. It's not necessarily, I don't know, it's not necessarily a poll here on Facebook, but the question was asked, I guess, and people responded. Now I can't find where I can't find where the replies are. Oh, here they are. Stephen Cryer says I would be more than happy with 8. Of course you would now, but the insatiable human being that you are says when you get 8, you don't want 12 or whatever, 16 or whatever. Petronia Elise Dampier. At the point you lose 2 games, we can't consider you good enough to get in without extreme help. For the lower tier conferences to get in, their out of conference games need to be better, and they have to win. So she's saying, strength of schedule. People need to up their game and play harder games during the season or whatever. You're a jerk. I have no those. Big ups to the 0 chips for the Falcons. How many teams should be in the college football playoffs? Yes, you can answer it too. I am no those. You and Big L. Answer the damn question, man. How many teams y'all think should be in there or whatnot? All right, so moving on here. This is going to take me to my NFL conversation, so don't think I'm forgetting about the NFL on today's show. How could I? After what we saw yesterday here in the Georgia Dome. Well, first and foremost, I want to talk about rules. This has been something that was on my mind for like some weeks now, and I mentioned that I told Renee a few weeks ago that I got this video log that I'm gonna do, but I can't find I couldn't find the time to get it done, and I couldn't find a way to just fit it into the show. I didn't want to just jam it in somewhere. Again, what she said. But today, after the stuff went on with Cam Newton yesterday, Cam Newton was benched for what was supposed to be a whole series, and it was a whole series. It just ended quickly with a pick 6 by Derek Anderson in yesterday's last night's Sunday Night Football game for not wearing a tie, for not wearing the proper attire on the team charter or the travel. What did Ron Rivera say? Is a travel wardrobe issue or whatever the hell he said, some crazy thing. And it got me to thinking. Well, it didn't get me to thinking, but it kind of just put a hook into these things I wanted to talk about. Rules, right? Like where do certain rules come from? Why do we subscribe to certain rules? And it's something that is a part of who I am. I'm constantly asking why with certain things. Like, why is this happening? Why do people do this? Why do I act this way? What would make me do this? And so many times, especially since I saw that documentary, 13th, I've kind of created this saying that so many things in our society are like breadcrumbs, like, Hansel and Gretel, like breadcrumbs that lead white America back to slavery. So I think about certain things like, the way people are expected to dress, or people are expected to talk, or people are expected to act. And God dang it, what the hell is happening right now? Somebody's asking me to come help them on Facebook. Jesus Christ. I hope they're not dying, but I'm doing my show right now. That's a bad guy move for me to say that. That's a bad guy move. Anyway, the poll results from Twitter are 25% say 4, 25% say 6, 50% of you jerks said 8, and 0% of you guys said more. All right, so there's that. Put it on the poll. Hashtag put it on the poll at One Mic with Big Mike. You guys can head on over there and answer the poll question at One Mic with Big Mike. So as I start asking myself these questions, I realize that as a black person in America, the sobering thought of not really having an identity, like who we are for the most part, is something that someone else told us to be long time ago. You know what I mean? From the things that we hold sacred to ourselves, our names. You know, for some of us, the way we look. If you saw the most recent episode of Blackish, they kind of broke down this whole like mixed or mulatto situation in the black community and how it was kind of systematically done to separate black people from slavery. And again, they're just the crumbs that lead back to a very, very, very terrible time. And the more and more I thought about this whole Cam Newton thing, because of the way my memory works, I don't remember names at all. Well, I try to, but it's hard for me to remember names. But the things that I do remember, I remember a lot of the things that I read, and I remember a lot of things that I hear. And I remember when Cam Newton got drafted, Jerry Richardson, the owner of the Panthers, right? He had some very peculiar questions, peculiar to me, questions of Cam Newton. And maybe some of you guys may not think they were that bad. So you guys can, you can chime in and let me know if I'm off the rocker. 404-902-8104 if you want to drop your comments in my chat room or as comments below the streaming video on Facebook. One Mic with Big Mike is the Facebook page. So he was a guest with my man Charlie Rose when Charlie Rose was only doing PBS. He wasn't doing the CBS situation yet. And he talked about the pre-draft meeting that he had between himself and Cam Newton. As you guys remember, Cam Newton was the number 1 overall pick out of Auburn that year, won the national championship, had him a Heisman Trophy on his hip, all the good stuff. So here's what my man says to Cam, who, as he described, was dressed perfectly, quote unquote, for the meeting. He says, quote, "I said, do you have any tattoos?" He said, "No, sir. I don't have any." I said, "Do you have any piercings?" He said, "No, sir. I don't have any." I said, "We want to keep it that way." The only thing that's missing from that statement to me is the word boy at the end of it. You feel me? It's like, at the end of the day, like, what's really good with that? And my man he tries to like justify it later on. He goes on to say that again, if you know anything about the days of slavery, that's how slaves were referred to, and they did the referring to their masters. You know, Master Tom, we all right, Master Tom? It was always we. So he says, quote, "We want to keep no tattoos, no piercings, and I think you have a very nice haircut," end quote. Which means if Cam one day he wanted to grow his hair out or wanted to do something like these boys do, the spongy thing, his owner, which I think is a word that we get real too, a phrasing, I guess, that we get way too comfortable with, you know what I mean? Because we're talking about sports. My owner. No, dude, you own the team. There's any way someone owns a company and I'm just an employee. You don't own me, cuz. But it gets projected that way. And maybe it's just me being ultra black today or something. I don't know. So the host says, "You sound like Lombardi." I don't know if that's what I'd say. I mean, I don't know if Lombardi was, had a slave owner's mentality, but yeah, whatever. Oh, you damn right. You let Cam show up with a fro like Kaepernick. Man, shoot. They make ropes for boys like you. I got one to fit you perfectly. Anyway, so he says, "You sound like Lombardi." And then the owner says, quote, "No, I just sound reasonable to me," end quote. Which brings me to my greater point. The things that, even as black people, the things that we experience and the things that we sometimes strive to be in a country that, didn't welcome us. We were like our ancestors were kidnapped and stripped of every portion of their identity, to where the only avenue to go down was to pick up the identity of your kidnappers, your enslavers. Here's what I mean by that. There's this concept of speak proper English, no Ebonics, You know why? Because black people ain't allowed to have nothing. We ain't allowed to have a damn thing. And if you speak differently than what's conceived as the Queen's English, even if someone can understand you now, you know what I mean? Because I know I live in the South. I grew up in Decatur. I know the bruh sometimes, you know. You hear somebody can hear him talking like, what the hell did he just say? I know. You may not know. But because I don't have a language, and most people who look like me don't have a language, you don't know where the hell you from. And here's why I know you don't know where the hell you from. And here's why you don't know where the hell you from. All those like white people, right? The white people that came over here from like Ellis Island and all these places, you know what they did? They put their names on things. They signed things. And they said, you know, my name is John Smith, coming over here from Ireland or wherever. That's why you hear white people say stuff like, I can't get drunk. I'm Irish. Because they know that's where they from. I'm from Decatur. Like, I don't know. Like, I can assume that my people is from Africa, right? Because that's where they picked us up at. But my friends, Africa ain't a country. It's a continent, my man. So yeah, you could easily say I'm from America, but you from Kansas? You from, Colorado? You from California? You from Georgia? Where you at? We don't know. Because we ain't have names. Our names didn't come with us, or the people who look like us didn't come here with names. They came here as numbers, as cargo. And when they got here, they became property. And when they were put on censuses, with cows. And, I own 3 cows. I own 4 Negroes. You know what I mean? So and I know it sounds wild, and like, I don't know if anybody else thinks this way, if these thoughts go through anybody else's mind. But, I've had, me and Renee had a conversation the other day. And I've had a conversation with my wife, and I think me and Rob had a conversation. This concept keeps coming up over and over and over again, and things that we claim as ours. And here's the thing: I don't begrudge any of that, because I support it. Like, if you don't have something of your own, yeah. Dominic Foxworthy, the former corner for the Broncos, he talked about this much more eloquently than I can. He was talking about his name, Foxworth. Is it Foxworthy? Dominic Foxworthy. I think it's Foxworthy. Foxworth is the white dude, right? With the, you're a redneck if Jeff Foxworth. I think his name is Dominic Foxworthy. He talked about knowing that name isn't his. It was something that was forced upon his ancestors way before him. But he chooses to turn it around and have a sense of pride in said name. But I guess my larger point is that he recognizes it. He recognizes it's not originally his, but there's also really a lack of choices as to what you're going to do. I mean, you can start calling himself Dominic X, like Malcolm X. Like, I'm not going by my slave name, and since I don't know my African name, I'll just put an X right there. That works too, I guess. You know what I mean? And another point he was making a point about the N-word. He was like, I don't care what it was used to Foxworth. I'm sorry. Thank you. I am no those. Always on point, my man. And I appreciate it. No doubt. So the other dude's name is Foxworthy. The white boy's name, you're a redneck if you whatever, that dude, his name is Jeff Foxworthy. Told you guys, names don't agree with me at all. But he talked about the N-word. He's like, yeah, people want to say that it came from this certain place and it came from this bad place. But I choose to use it, as a means of positivity, or just make it my own. And you hear somebody say that, if you're me, my thoughts automatically go to what else is like that. And if you think about it, damn near everything. You know what I mean? Like, the optics of this Cam Newton thing, to get back, to kind of bring it full circle, the optics of this Cam Newton thing say to you, oh, it's a black quarterback and his Hispanic head coach. But no. If you listen, these are the owner's rules. He want his boys in their monkey suits. Because I've asked this question for so long. Like, for people, like, if you listen to my show right now, would you take me more seriously if I was sitting here in a damn suit and tie? Like, where did that whole concept come from? And I'm asking kind of like I'm not really asking. because I've looked this stuff up, like the history of wearing suits and all that. Do you realize, here's some like useless knowledge that you can have, that at one point in parts of this country, wearing a suit was illegal. You say, how is that a thing? Like, how could that possibly be? Well, there were parts of this country where Hispanic gang members, they put on suits to look fresh and look more, more business-like maybe. And then when that happened, when the Brown boys took something and made it their own, this is the inception of the zoot suit. It became illegal. I think it was in Oakland, was one of the places where it became illegal to wear a suit. As time moves on, a suit becomes, again, a symbol of sophistication. That's why, like, when I see these kids, these rappers, like Young Thug and these cats, and what's that other kid's name? Got like the 3 braids, like Serena Williams hanging down the front of his head, but then he got a different haircut on one side and a different haircut. Just pick one, any of them. Like, I look at them and I say, these kids they want something to be their own. That's all it is, and they don't have anything. Like in America, as black people, we don't have nothing that wasn't either given to us or forced upon us, and then we end up not realizing that as a conscious thought, thinking that the way it was told to us and the way it was given to us is automatically right because of the people who gave it to us. In the 60s, you saw like black men always walked around with suits on. They had like little hats on and all that kind of stuff. All that is emulation. It's emulation and a looking for and a yearning for acceptance from the people to look like that. I would have to feel like that's where like permed and straightened hair came from. These are the people who get the respect. The people with the permed and straightened hair, they get the respect. My hair don't look like that. How can I make it look like that? So Madam C.J. Walker, she's the one, right? She's the one who created the perm and all that kind of stuff. It came from a yearning to be accepted in a country that you were never, and if you ask me, will never be accepted in. Certain people made certain rules that applied to them. They made these round holes knowing that you were a square peg and told you I dare you to try to fit through it. And what happens is when there are black people who find their way through those round holes, there's a perception that's lost. There's a perspective, I should say, that's lost. And I remember hearing LL Cool J talk about this years ago. He was talking about Bill Cosby and Bill Cosby telling kids to pull their damn pants up and all this kind of stuff. He was like, just because you want them to pull their pants up don't make it right or don't make them wrong. Like, here's my only thing when it comes to like the sagging of the pants and how drastically kids sag their pants. Like, I don't know how you get anything accomplished. Like, if something pop off, you gonna need to get the hell on. There was a story here I saw on the news that this policeman, these kids decided they wanted to break in somebody's car. They thought they saw a laptop in the back of the car, and these kids broke into the car and took this bag. The police happened to be there and see him do it. So by the time the news is on, this policeman is telling this story on the news, trying not to bust out laughing because he was able to catch both of these dudes, run both of them down. And the reason being, because they trying to run and hold their pants up. Like, that's my only thing. It just it's not functional what you're trying to do, fashion wise, especially for what you're trying to depict. You're trying to depict a tough guy, or you hard or whatever. Well, sometimes people are hard. They need to be able to get the hell on when the boys show up. You doing dirt, you need to be able to get the hell on. So that's my only thing. Like, to me, it's not like, you look so stupid doing that. Who says? Ask yourself this question. Whenever you have a criticism of something that someone's doing personally, just something personally that someone's doing, ask yourself, who made that rule? And why do you subscribe to it? Why do you feel like Renee asked the question? Well, I asked Renee the question if she knew the other day, and I'm getting ready to take a break here in just a second. If she knew why black people felt like it was a necessity to dress up for church. And she said, why? And I told her, because that's the day during slavery where the slave master would give his slaves decent clothes to wear. It was Sunday when they had to go listen to him pump them full of all these mythical stories of this white man who's going to make their life better after they're dead now. You can't have a good life now. After you dead, you'll have a better life than this one. So that spawned the term putting on your Sunday best. Yeah, crumbs. Those are the crumbs that lead back to slavery that as black people don't even know why. A lot of black people don't even know why, but they still hold and cleave to them. I think Renee was telling me about a church where they would look down on people who didn't come to church dressed up. So you actually, in essence, now that I think about it, you're looking down on the people who aren't subscribing to slave mentality. Funny how that works, huh? So when I think about Cam Newton, man, and him getting punished for not wearing a tie, and then the dude was still dressed, and I hear all these white boys on TV today talking about his attire and the rules say this and the rules about what you can put on your body and this, that, and the other. It's like, you got to miss me with that. I've always been a dude who had a problem with authority, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always going to question authority. Make it make sense to me why I should do what you say do, which is why I'm a terrible employee. I have to work for myself, and, there may be a day where I have to rejoin the workforce. I dread it. You feel me? I absolutely dread it. But, it is what it is. It definitely is what it is. So I kind of wanted to share that with you guys. And I'm using this freaking Cam Newton thing as kind of as a springboard to it. You feel what I'm saying? I come back. I'll move from this into some other things, some of the other NFL stuff. I got a couple of things that hit my mind too for putting on the poll. Hashtag put it on the poll at One Mic with Big Mike. So I'll drop some of those on you as well. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm right here, Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, tune in, and OneMicWithBigMike.com. I'm going to come back, wrap the show up, and where am I at in this Hawks game? They about to be at halftime in this damn Hawks game, and I can't tell what the score is. So I'll get into this Hawks game and some Monday Night Football maybe. It's going to be terrible, but, I'm a glutton for punishment. I'll be right back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at OneMicWithBigMike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem even I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. Over 17 million kids in America may not know where their next meal is coming from. That's 1 in 5 children. Yet billions of pounds of surplus food produced right here in America just get thrown out every year. That's more than enough to feed every last hungry child. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by going to feedingamerica.org. Together we can knock out hunger. Together we're Feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go!
Welcome back. Final segment of the first show of the week right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show, being heard live right now on Spreaker.com. I'm also on the Spreaker app. I'm also on TuneIn and, of course, the One Mic with Big Mike .com website every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 7 o'clock. You guys can also hear the show on demand on every last one of those outlets I've already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and, of course, YouTube, where you can get the video and the audio. I'm streaming live video right now on the Facebook page. It is at the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. That's also my same handle for Twitter and Instagram. You can get in touch with me via the text line at 404-902-8104. You can also jump inside my live interactive chat room if you're listening via Spreaker or the Spreaker app. Of course, OneMicWithBigMike.com. All you got to do Click on that little thought bubble icon. It'll get you inside the live interactive chat room where it is exactly what it says it is. It's live and it's interactive. You can talk back and forth with me and tell me when I'm wrong about stuff, as I am no dose is able to do. Wait, is it? Okay, I'm reading the same thing over again. Foxworth. Okay. Also, you can leave comments below the live streaming video here on YouTube once again. I mean, not YouTube, on Facebook. Once again, it's facebook.com/one mic with Big Mike. Okay, so the last segment, we're talking about Cam Newton. Being not suspended. He was sat down for a series, which ended up only being one play against the Seattle Seahawks last night, which, by the way, they ended up getting pushed all the way in. Was it 40-7? The person I am, I wish they would have lost the game by 6 points because of that ignorance. Let's put it on the poll, Renee. Let's put it on the poll at One Mic with Big Mike. Do you think Cam Newton should have been reprimanded in the way he was for not wearing a tie before yesterday's game or traveling to yesterday's game versus the Seattle Seahawks? This is a simple yes or no, or doesn't matter. Renee likes those doesn't matter. I don't give a damn to like expose people. Like a black dude got shot by a white dude. Was it bad? Was it kind of bad? Or you don't give a damn? Like 78%. I don't give a damn. Because only bad people follow me on social media. Only terrible human beings follow me. But the other thing that's kind of coming out of not just last night, but this season, man, is Cam Newton. Cam Newton was a damn MVP last year. Like somebody mentioned that in the chat room a little while ago. Cam Newton's the damn MVP of the league last year. And this year, he looks like the team looks terrible. But as the season is going on, like he started off, it was kind of cool. The defense was letting him down. But as the season is going on, man, Cam Newton's faded, man. He's fading and fading and fading. And I wonder. It was something that I said a couple of years ago when I was on radio, and I was saying about Matt Ryan. This thing that happens with quarterbacks where they start seeing ghosts, man, where you get hit enough, people start racking their head up enough. You get I don't give a damn how big you are, man. I can only assume that an NFL hit still hurts. I've never taken one, but I can assume that it still hurts, and it's still your natural survival instinct at some point kicks in. And maybe that's what we're seeing out of Cam Newton. Maybe the coaching just ain't there, because apparently your man Ron Rivera seeing what's happening with Jeff Fisher was like, that's all you need to do, ain't it? You can coach forever in this league if you just make it to a Super Bowl, even if you lose, because that's what Jeff Fisher done. So this man stepped outside himself and be like, you know what? We're going to punish the star quarterback of the team to show everybody that, guess what? Everybody's the same. That's ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous thing ever, especially when you're talking about sports and professional sports at that. That's the most dumb concept to have. No one's bigger than the team. If that's the case, then why is Cam Newton's contract $100 million and Derek Anderson's ain't even 50? Maybe, I'm not sure. I know it ain't 100. Because if everybody was the same, you know what I'm saying? Your backup quarterback would get paid the same amount as your starting quarterback, wouldn't it? But that ain't the case. Hell no, everybody ain't the damn same. The same way that if some dude that's a practice squatter get a DUI, you can cut his black ass that same day versus your $100 million quarterback get one. It's like, well, we got to, reprimand and fine and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you got to, spin it that way. Come on, man. Let's not be stupid. People talk about being treated fairly, right, versus being treated equally. Like, that's what you want. And in the world we live in, you won't be treated equally because people aren't equal. But you want to be treated fairly. And there's a difference in the two things. When you talk about professional sports, it applies. Probably even more so because of the fact that we know everybody's pay. We know everybody's contract situation. Go to Troupe Talk right now. And the breakdown of every single player in every professional sport is right there. You can tell exactly what's happening in their pockets. And you can tell real quickly that everybody ain't the same. Everybody don't get treated the same. Oh, you know what I meant to ask Ben about? This thing with Earl Thomas yesterday. Because in that game yesterday, Earl Thomas broke his damn leg. And apparently he was so distraught after, he don't miss football games. Since high school, he ain't missed no football games since the last one with that hamstring. And he came back to playing this one and broke his damn leg. And my man was tweeting about freaking retirement. You know, and I meant to ask Ben if he ever felt that way, like, you know, if I can't play, it ain't worth it, you know. And then the thing is, too, about Earl Thomas, it wasn't like it's a ligament, something that's going to take a lot of rehab. It's a bone. You just cast that joint up and it's going it's going to heal. But maybe just the shock of it, maybe. Here's what else happened yesterday in the NFL. As we talk about rules, right? As we talk about, you know, who makes the rules and why you have to follow the rules, why you have to follow certain rules. And understand, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not talking about laws. Like, you know, no, people shouldn't just be able to go out and murder people and all. Like, laws definitely serve their place, and probably maybe the greater portion of them, you can understand why they exist. There are a lot of stupid ass laws, but, you know, that's another story for another time. We're talking about the NFL right now and their rules. You know, a couple of guys this season, Antonio Brown was one. He was threatened to not be allowed to play in the second half of a game if he wore these custom cleats. Guys have been fined for wearing the Yeezy cleats at times. But yesterday they had wear your own cleats or support your cause. You can support your cause on your cleats yesterday in the NFL. And it just made me think to myself, it's like, why is it okay on that day? The day that everybody's like, man, the NFL's doing a real good job letting these guys do that, allowing these guys to do it. See what I'm saying? And so it's okay as long as the people who make the rules can get the praise for it. Like, the NFL ain't pay for none of these dudes to customize their cleats. I guarantee that. But they took all the praise for doing this good, grand gesture. You know what else happened yesterday? Cam Newton had some cleats on yesterday. And his cleats said "everyone matters" on his cleats, quote unquote. Everyone matters. My cause, my cleats. Thank you. I am no dose. I don't know what the hell I said, but I think it was along that same tenor. You guys get what I'm saying? People had charities, and then they put them on their cleats. But the official name is "my cause, my cleats." And Cam Newton's cleats said "everyone matters" on them. And I don't know what the hell is going on. You guys heard me talk about Rob Littall yesterday. He has a website called Black Sports Online, and he kind of railed on Sage Steele. What was that, last week or the week before last? And today I see a headline that says Cam Newton's cleats say "all lives matter," and I was like, nah, because I'm me, and I'm like, this ain't true. This got to be like some sort of like clickbait, and I'm like, hook, line, and sinker. It got me. The bait got me. So I was like, all right, man, let me see what's really happening here. His cleat said "everyone matters." Now the problem with that is that's the name of his organization. The organization that he feeds all those kids, does that big Thanksgiving dinner for, and does all those things for those kids in Charlotte and wherever else. Like, everyone knows Cam Newton, when he spoke on the Colin Kaepernick thing, he was on his all lives matter type situation or whatever. But I think I find that like mad irresponsible, man. You know, I understand people want numbers and they want like people to click on their site and all that, but like, you don't have to misrepresent somebody to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was supposed to be something for them kids, and to like take that and be like, look at Cam, he on his all lives matter stuff. We got to calm down. Like Ryan Clark, Ryan Clark dropped an all lives matter on us right before the show started on ESPN. That was pretty awesome. I was like, wait, what's happening now? They was talking about this Joe McKnight thing, and let me hurry up so I can get to that here in just a second. Matter of fact, oh no, let me drop another. Put this on the poll, Renee. Put this on the poll. Because the other thing that happened yesterday with these cleats, two teams were on buys. The Browns and the Titans were on buys. So, like, the people from the Browns and the Titans who got, like, organizations, they ain't going to be able to rep their organization. So, what I want to know, Renee, put it on the poll at One Mike with Big Mike. Hashtag, put it on the poll. Should the Browns and Titans, since they had a bye this week, should they be able to wear their custom cleats next week to rep their charities? Another, yes or no, or I don't give a damn. That seems to be a popular one. I don't give a damn. So yeah, hashtag, put it on the poll. And don't forget, you guys can put stuff on the poll too. This ain't just about me. If you guys need us to help you through a life situation, you know what I mean? You mess around and you know what I'm saying, you knocked your side chick up or whatnot. You trying to decide, should you convince her to, take that trip to the clinic? Let us know, man. We'll put it on the poll. We'll get the people to chime in. Should I Am No Dose convince his side chick to go to the clinic and, take care of that situation that they in? Yes, no, or I don't give a damn. So you got problems like that. The One Mic with Big Mike show is here, to help you out. It's about to be the holidays too, so another side chick question. You know what I'm saying? You want trying to figure out, should you get your side chick a gift for for Christmas or whatnot? Holler at your boy. We'll hashtag put it on the poll at One Mic with Big Mike. All right. So jury selection started in the Will Smith shooting case. You guys remember, what was that, this summer, right? Will Smith, former New Orleans Saint, got knocked down by another kid, another black guy, in the same type of situation, a road rage situation. Will Smith hit the dude from the back. My man was pulling over to do the responsible thing, seemed like. Will Smith took off. My man took off after him. Apparently, the way part of the story's told is that Will Smith hit a car in front of him, causing my man to hit him in the back. They get out the car. It's an altercation. My man's like, I'm not finna have this nonsense. Put a couple in Will Smith. Will Smith ended up dead. But there's a lot of other things around this. And if you guys remember, that's why I'm glad I do a show, because the things I say are recorded. You remember when I said this, man? Hold up. While everybody was like, F this dude, I hope he get F, like the dude that did the shooting. I was like, hold on. Make sure you get the details on this first, because it seemed like there's a lot more to be said, and there's a lot of people involved. There was a former or off-duty police officer that was hanging out with Will Smith. His wifey was there. She took one in the leg, I guess. My man was driving in a Hummer with his homeboys. One of his homeboys was on Outside the Lines earlier today telling the story, and how he feels like, his homeboy's already been tried in the court of public opinion already, which I can't really fault him for thinking that way. Here's the other thing that's happening down there. First of all, let me get this first. They finna pull some like double jeopardy stuff on this dude without pulling double jeopardy on him. This is why, man, I'm always talking to you guys about like the system that we live in, because I'm sure that most people, especially black people, didn't know that this was a thing. This dude got 2 charges on him, right? He got the 2nd-degree murder beef on him, and he got this gun charge on him, this firearm charge on him, assault with a firearm, something crazy like that, right? So usually you hear about dudes that go to court, right? And it's like, all right, when the jury comes back, how do you find on this count? How do you find on this count? Well, on this count, we find not guilty. On this count, we find guilty, or both not guilty, or whatever it is. But I don't know if this is a New Orleans thing or what. But these cats have separated my man's charges. And the dude, the legal analyst on ESPN said this. The reason that they do that is to try to ensure a conviction. They got this dude in jail right now, right, under $1.7 million bond. He ain't got that, so he's already doing time. Whether he's guilty or not guilty, he's already doing time because of this amazingly high bail. And I'm calling it high because the other dude wasn't even charged, so there was 0 bail. So in comparison, the dude that killed Joe McKnight, in comparison, 0, 1.7 million, yeah, I'm going to call it high. You feel me? So what they going to do is separate the charges, and if they get him on the 2nd-degree murder, which is the first thing he's going to be tried for, not even worry about the gun situation. But if the jury comes back not guilty on the 2nd-degree murder, they're going to still hit him again over the head with the gun situation. How is that a thing? How you able to do that, man? This is why I talk about like the legal system. It's so corrupt and bad, because if he can't afford his bond, he got a public defender. Please believe that. And this ain't George Zimmerman. Y'all cats ain't sending money to his PayPal for his lawyer. Especially when the narrative at the beginning, when there was only a limited amount of information, was that he murdered this kid, that he murdered Will Smith. And because Will Smith was this loved member of the community as a football player, of course he could do no wrong. Like, I don't know this kid. I don't know Will Smith. But I understand what it is to be mistreated by a system. And this is exactly what's happening, man. He going to have a public defender in both situations. And if he is paying for a lawyer, all they do, they try to wait you out so that you can't pay for him no more, because how he making money? He in the bank. He in jail. How he making money? I don't know that this dude murdered that dude. And with the system the way it is, I don't think nobody will know. Oh, it's not. My man, I am no. But still, think about what I just said. I am no. He said his lawyer isn't a public defender. But if you go through 2 full trials, you know how much money that is, how many billable hours that is? Like, to me, that's the game. We'll just wait you out because we the state. We got enough money to try your black ass twice. And house you in the Bing. Crazy, man. The other thing I heard today about this whole Joe McKnight situation, man, is every black person's least favorite phrase: stand your ground. You know, the thing that you can't do, but everybody who doesn't look like you can do. And apparently, in this particular part of New Orleans or Louisiana, the rule Bob Lee described it as being very convoluted. the stature that the other person don't even have to have a weapon. You could be in your car, and if you just think, because your car is an extension of you, of your person. If you think this person's trying to get in your car, you can murder somebody like it ain't nothing, like a fly off your ass. Holla at me, dog. Somebody got to holler at me on that. Like, how is that? Like, what part of the game is that? Like, I've told y'all before on this show, I'm not no fighter. I'm 40. I'm about to be 40 years old in like 4 months. I ain't no time to be fighting nobody. So I understand the concept of if you about to do something to me, yeah, I'm just going to put a hole in you and then take my chances. But the other thing is, it ain't going to be on that situation. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell is happening. I don't know what the hell is happening and how this is, like, how anybody feels like this is acceptable. Like, for black people, yeah, we're taken aback and we're appalled every time this happens. But the reality is, guess what, man? You know what I mean? Guess what? The people who count don't care. Like, he must have done something to him. One guy had a gun, the other one didn't. Wait, what do you mean? The black guy didn't have a gun? Well, I mean, he must have looked like he had one. Yeah, there's always a justification for taking some black dude's life, man. And in the case of this other kid, Will Smith, it's almost like they get a 2 for 1. Or maybe white people look at Will Smith as one of the good ones. He helped bring a Super Bowl here. He must be one of the good ones. Then what happened, right? The blood alcohol level came out. My man was drunk. First he said he had no weapon. Then they find out he was hanging with a off-duty police officer. And homeboy's lawyers are trying to say that this off-duty police officer tampered with the evidence. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, we want to jump to conclusion on a lot of things, right? Like, I ain't even jumped to conclusion on this thing with this white boy. This Joe McKnight situation, until they was like, well, yeah, he spent a couple hours at the precinct and we had to let him go. I mean, look at him. He's white. What were we supposed to do? Put him in jail. Come on. You know, that's not how it works. Like, that's my issue. And shout out to y'all, too, as well. You know what I need to start doing, too? Bringing back the hashtag Put It On The Poll. Put It On The Poll. Brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. Bringing back the final results from the polls, the next show. But a lot of you people, a lot of you guys, answered the same way. You know, the most appalling part wasn't necessarily that homeboy got shot, and I think that's because you don't know everything that went into him getting shot. But the most appalling thing, subtract the people who just didn't give a damn. But the most appalling thing for most people is the fact that that homeboy got let go, or that he wasn't charged. I felt like those were the same things, but I just kind of put them together in my mind and say most people felt the same way I do. I don't know what caused the shooting to happen. What I do know is that what kind of information you get in a couple of hours that make you just say, you know what, since you say you didn't mean to do it, or he gave you cause to do it and you were standing your ground, we're just going to let you go home. Please, man. Renee, do we have any other results? You can send them to me on the Skype situation. Any other results before we get out of here of the Put It On The Poll? Hashtag Put It On The Poll at One Mic with Big Mike. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and Instagram as well. So I wanted to make sure I gave you guys that little bit. Before I go, let me talk to my people here in the A. I got a couple minutes. Let me talk to my people here about what happened yesterday with the Atlanta Falcons. And we alluded to it a little bit. You heard my man Ben Troupe's take on it. Y'all gotta stop jumping out the window every time this damn team lose. This is not that team. This is not the 07 Patriots. You're not finna check out the 72 Dolphins or whatever they were. 77 Dolphins, 72. This ain't an undefeated ball club. It's this team here in Atlanta is hella incomplete. You get lost in all the amazing plays that happen with the offense, right? Julio Jones went over 100-something yards yesterday. No touchdowns, though. This damn team got into the red zone 3 times and left with nothing 3 of those times. Man, F you people, man. Like, people like, we don't care about Cam Newton being suspended. I understand, man. Most of you MFs are from the A, and it don't matter. He's a Panther. But, like, just more cerebrally than that, man. Like, the fact that this old white man owner is trying to tell this dude, who, by the way, he didn't get on the plane with a wife beater on and a snapback turned backwards and the pants sagging and some Yeezy boots. You know what I mean? That dude was dressed like he was about to go solve the biggest crime of the century, like a detective, like a movie detective. But if it's not what boss man want, if it's not what Master Tom want, you in trouble, right? So anyway, back to this Falcons thing. You got like 5 minutes. I mentioned already, you guys have to anticipate Matt Ryan playing perfect football every time out. And no quarterback is that. No NFL quarterback has ever done that. Renee, what's going on? It's not on Twitter? What's happening? No? Put it on the poll at One Mic with Big Mike so people can get it popping. Same answer for the custom cleats thing. All right. You guys got to be more reasonable about who your team is. This defense, while a lot of people have described it as being terrible, they're not terrible, but they're not in a position where they can pick. They're like the Cowboys defense. That defense, you can't rely on that defense to pick up that offense if they falter, get stops in the red zone and everything. Hell no. You might get a sack here or there or whatever, but it don't matter. No one's fearful of this defense. At one point, Alex Smith completed 14 passes in a row. He ended up 21 of 24. That dude missed 4 balls in an NFL football game. Nah, man. Something got to be better than that. You got to change the game up a little bit. Alex Smith throwing 14 straight balls on you, completing them. And then there's the Eric Berry thing. Shout out to Eric Berry, ATL zone. Those plays were made by a baller. Like, want some scrub-ass safety making plays against you. Eric Berry is probably going to be the highest paid safety in the NFL next year. And based on what he's able to do and what he's able to bring to that defense, well worth it. So you got 2 Pro Bowl players, Matt Ryan and Eric Berry. Eric Berry won twice and ended up costing the Falcons another football game. Good thing, luckily for them, the next 2 games are against the Rams and the 49ers. If you're looking for some elixir, there it is. My man Colin Kaepernick got benched yesterday in the snow. Homeboy had like 5 passing attempts for 4 yards, like 1 of 5 for 4 yards. This is after me like bragging on this dude. Like, man, he started to come along, man. He feel like he's trying to get his sea legs up under him. I don't know. I don't know. We got a couple things to kind of just like bust out real quick here. The Hawks have been terrible. Speaking of the ATL, they lost like 9 in a row or something like that, out of the playoff picture at the quarter pole of the season. My man Rob Calloway told me at the beginning of the season that he didn't feel like this Hawks team was going to be a playoff team, man. And I refuted him on it. And I was like, nah, man, I think the Hawks, man, they'll be back where they usually are, like 6 or 7, and that can still happen. But to see this early in the season, at the quarter pole in the season, I'm looking at the game right now, I see a lot of frustration, hands being thrown. It looks like they're winning too, and still frustrated. Yeah, man. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed yourself 2 years ago, because I said it. I felt like that at that time the Hawks had peaked, man. It wasn't like, oh man, 1 step away from the finals. Hell no. That was as good as it's gonna get. And now you fall back into this land of mediocrity, because the one thing the NFL teaches you and preaches to you without actually saying it, you got to have a star. That system stuff is cool. We run a cool system. We pass the ball. We move the ball. We get a bunch of assists every game. Okay, cool. You need a star that can get you buckets in crunch time. This team don't have it. Kent Bazemore is not that dude. What's homeboy's name? Paul Millsap, not that dude. Al Horford realized he wasn't that dude and got the hell out of here. And Dwight Howard, definitely not that dude. If Dwight Howard's your star, DeAndre Jordan might as well be too. Trust that. Kyle Korver in your starting lineup. My man A.T., Arthur Trish, producer of one of those shows over at 92.9, he tweeted the other day, like, man, it's about time for Kyle Korver to get out of the damn starting lineup. I was like, cuz now? It's been. Kyle Korver don't start for no other team in the NBA. None. He comes off the bench to give you some three-point shooting. That dude is a starter in Atlanta. I'll let your boy. Anyway, that's going to do it for the Monday edition. I still got some stuff here on the table, man. I wanted to talk about Steve Kerr smoking weed. Just didn't get to it, though. Talking about Cam and rules and white people and black people with no identity. That sucks, dude. Like, straight up and down, that sucks, man. That we don't have no identity. Our identity is the identity that was given to us, man. And throughout almost every walk of life, man, it's continuously impressed upon us to be a certain way. Black people can't really show emotion. Look at black head coaches. Got to be all sublime. Todd Bowles, Marvin Lewis. These cats got to be all. You can't like throw a temper tantrum. Jim Harbaugh smashing stuff and getting naked on the sideline and all this craziness. Anyway, we'll come back. We'll do some more talking about some other stuff on Wednesday. My man Matt Matosky will be back talking fantasy football with me, unless his old lady drag him to another musical or whatnot. But I'll be here. Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. I'll be on TuneIn, OneMicWithBigMike.com. The show's available on demand on all four of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. You can get the video and the audio from YouTube. The video of the live stream. Shout out to my man Ben Troupe. Shout out to Renee. I am No Dose, Big L. Appreciate you guys holding me down, man. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. You can keep the polls going too. You can keep answering the polls. Put it on the poll. Hashtag. We're going to start the hashtag. Put it on the poll at One Mic with Big Mike. Until Wednesday, you guys, like I always say, man, y'all be safe. And I definitely hope to hear from you guys and talk to you guys on Wednesday.